Yo, what's up guys? We're back with some Etheria videos right here. And we're going to be looking at the fastest teams in Terrormaton, DokiDoki, and Aurora on the Inferno stage. I did try the Inferno stage myself as well, so I can show my own team. Didn't really try that on the DokiDoki nor Aurora. But this is the media server where everyone does get a pretty boosted account. And therefore you can go for some very fast time clears. This one is actually 19 seconds. That is absolutely insane. However, I can't check anything else that is not in recent for like the playthrough, but I can show the build itself. So there's definitely a few like 30-ish second teams out there. So let's just check this 30-second team. I think my team is currently, I did see a 31-second team on my own team, so I can showcase a little bit about that. So first, let's showcase the run, and then we're going to showcase what are the gear quality, what are the shells, and where does it actually come from. So first of all, you do always need to strip the Terrormaton for the immunity. So in this case, he does have a strip in the form of a Heinrich. He does have the booster in the form of a Biotin. Then he has a Marvel, which actually still makes this run a little bit safe. Also, we did get a proper hit on the Victor, which therefore does already showcase that this is not a super sound run, but because you're not always going to get that much damage on the Victor, having Victor on that low HP, and Victor just annihilating the boss, getting the second turn for the Biotin, slapping that thing to oblivion. These teams are so fun to see. I do want to give a disclaimer though, because in this game you do have a maximum amount of stability that you can use, and therefore you cannot go for an infinite amount of refreshes. It is better to have a safe team rather than a very fast team. But then again, these fast teams are definitely pretty cool out there. So what are we looking for that fast team that we did see do that much damage? So we did see the Heinrich. In this case, he actually goes for the Revelation Shell, which I haven't really seen too much use. I definitely will try this out on this beta as well. I definitely do think that this is super strong on a Rosa, but once again, I would have to try that out. Biotin is just using an Alicorn. That doesn't really change too much. We got a Codex of Magic over there. And then this one, what is he using? He's also using the Revelation. Interesting. I should definitely give a try to this to my Victor as well, to see if that actually does do more damage, because that did do a good amount of damage. But I've been trying back and forth on some Victor things as well. So let's actually showcase the team that I was running myself on the Inferno, because that was also a pretty fast team. Was slightly different style. I was using the Freya because I feel like with the Freya rather than a Biotin, Biotin will provide more damage because of a crit damage buff. But Freya provides more attack bar boost and attack bar slows on this. So you don't really get cut on turns. And if you get an armor break from the left arm on something like that, and he hits pretty hard after that on the same target, it might just instantly die. Also, I went for a Victor. In my case, it's going to be using the White Fang. And we're going to be using Momentum. And Momentum will help for extra damage the moment that there are more debuffs on it. And I do have a decent amount of debuff providers where I also have the Freya. So with Freya, that adds in one extra debuff on that skill 3, and that helps out a little bit more. Then I also have the Ting, which I actually have on low crit rate. So it's only there for his passive, where he does get extra crit rate and crit damage passive in that case. And he does have an insane amount of extra crit damage by itself. So I went all 3 of the cores on crit damage. And then we actually have Keen Eyes. And Keen Eyes is just your very first hit. You're going to do extra damage regardless. So this is a very hard hitting hit. I did notice already that we don't always get the right amount of damage. But let's just see if we get it over here. So, okay, that one went on the left. You mostly don't want to have things hitting on the left, because the bad issue for that is that the thing might be focusing on that as well. But we have, do we get everything? I'm not sure if we had everything over there. So good damage over there, but I don't think that this is going to be enough. I have seen this rotation kill in one hit. No, we're very close though. So once again, also super sound hit. I would say that this was actually 27 seconds. Wait, that's faster than the other guy. If we didn't, I think we can do a slight bit more damage, and then we're looking at like a 25-second team on this one. And that would make it where I think there are some ways to make it a little bit faster than what we had over here. Well, actually, if the Victor is hit by the very first hit, I think we would be good to go already. So actually, in this case, we have one less debuff. So it's not going to be happening where we are going to do enough damage. But I'm going to be replaying a few times after this one, until we just get a rotation where Victor does get the hit, therefore gets more passive in, and therefore I will deal a lot more damage. Because in here, ooh, pretty close as well. So let's see, with a Victor hit, it's definitely going to be there. But this is already like 27 seconds, and it's stable. I think that this is a lot more stable than the team that we saw with the Biotint just earlier. So let's try to get a rotation where Victor does get hit early on, and then we're going to see from there. Victor hit. Victor did get hit. Okay, perfect. Let's see, can we land all debuffs? We did land the 2 over there. We did get the extra hit over here. Can we land this debuff? Should definitely be landing those. All of those things have like a proper amount of accuracy. Can we land this? Land everything. Perfect as well. Victor hit. Yep, that's going to be the insta-kill. That's guaranteed. Man, the amount of damage that Victor does if he has board... This is 24 seconds. Yep, 24 seconds. So yeah, that's the kind of thing. If you're very end game, once again, these are super, super end game kind of gears where you would get this amount of damage in, where it's like 219 on like another like plus 100 over here. Lots of stats in here. Also the shell, if you look at the individuals, like the crit damage, it's the 7, it's the 26. There's just so much going in. This one, I didn't actually have the 27 on this. But as I said before, on the media server, we have a lot of like boosted accounts, but also like 280 in this. That is absolutely insane. And that's just the main thing of adding a lot of these right sides towards crit damage itself. Plus, he has the passive where he doesn't need a full crit rate because he gets the crit rate boost by the exclusive mark. And that makes D-Thing a super hard damage dealer, but also Victor, both of them insane damage dealers. I am going to do a video of testing what is the strongest SR character for single target damage between Victor, the Thing, and also I think Rindian Bao is also one of those options that a lot of people would say like she's interesting for single target damage, but that will be a future video. So let's look at the teams that other people did craft for a super fast DokiDoki. I saw one team that I was pretty much interested in, and that looks super cool. So is it this one over here? Nope. Well, we actually have to go to a recent clear. Are those recent clears? We have a 45-second recent clear. I think it was that one. Because this one also looks super sound for the team is just really good. And what is this team revolving around? The whole team is on the Codex of Magic. So you clear one wave, but you clear the second wave. So we first have a Marvel going first. And as you can see, Codex of Magic on the whole team. So we have all of the skills doing once, not just once, but doing the skills twice. And that's also what I like to see. I've seen some faster teams here and there, but this is a super sound team where it's always going to be working like this because they have like the pushback, they have the survivability, they have everything going in. Real Matcha doing an insane amount of damage, but also once again over here, we have the pushback. And that's the thing, like if you have a fast team with a Marvel and a fast team with a Freya, that's where you get a really solid and a really good team, rather than it's like, okay, sometimes it's going to run like 20 seconds, but some other times it's not going to run that fast at all. But look at that damage of the Real Matcha. Let's actually look at the Real Matcha build right there. Oh, not this Real Matcha. We have the Real Matcha of this one over here. How crazy are those stats? We're actually looking at a count. That is pretty interesting over there. Wait, why is it that's on count? Why was that? Am I looking at the right one? Because she was doing the right skill twice. Why does she have that skill back again? Oh, she has cooldown because of killing. Makes sense. Forgot about that part. Yeah, that's the part that's in the S1. She reduces the cooldown if she kills. I would say, well, she did already kill, so it doesn't really matter what is on this one. But I think you can probably go for a better one over here. It's a lot and a lot of attack on this one. That's definitely a thing. So those shells are definitely focused a lot and a lot on attack. But I feel like that this kind of stats is somewhat doable to get. Like, if we compare it to the crit damage that I had on the other two characters that I showcased, it's like 280%. Sure, was a lot lower in the attack, but it also kind of depends, like, do you go for an Onslaught or do you go from Fury based on, like, what do you have good modules on, what do you have a good shell on, and that kind of stuff. But I would say that this team is actually kind of doable to get. Like, it's not as crazy as the other team, I would say. Also doesn't include any of the LD units itself, well, Marvel, but that's an SR, that's pretty obtainable. I think that I could see people running this kind of team later on in the game. The only thing that you do need is that you're probably going to need a max skill on Freya, at least max skill on the Ramocha, but that is definitely a team. If I want to go for fast DokiDokis, this might actually be my team, because that looks super solid. And once again, she's a really good CC unit for that altogether. You could go for a Kraken, but definitely she is doing a very good job on that third skill as well, because there's also an attack down. So attack down makes it a lot more safe and sound and survivable that way. Plus the Codex of Magic just works so well for all of this. Then let's look at Aurora. So Aurora might be the little bit more of a difficult dungeon for a bit of people, especially in the hardest stage, because hollows do get 200% extra damage, where you're normally using your Sanya for healing. That's not really going to be the case anymore. You do have to remove this curse, so you definitely, I think most people do go for a form of a Linglo, but I also do see a bunch of Mias out there for options as well. So let's see what's the fastest one we do see. We see a 40-second on a Rosa team over here. I think that this is where a Rindium Bow, which is a water element or the blue element, would probably be a lot stronger. We do also see a bunch of options with a Sania on the Shadow version, which you go for the dot team. I will definitely showcase this team in a second as well. This is a 30-second. Hey, that's Sean B. Sean B actually made a 37-second team on that. Let's check out the team of Sean B. So in this case, we're looking at a lot of damage from Rosa rather than a lot of damage from anything else. You can still add a bit more stats to this, I would say. But let's see what we have over here and how much damage output do we do on this thing. We do go for the strip once again on the Heinrich. I think it's probably the better stripper out there for this dungeon, or it is the best stripper out there for this dungeon. You have a few other options to make it decently fast, but there are a few other options out there. We have the Dion going in. We have the full healing going in. I think, are you on Supernova? No, you're actually on Gigabyte and you still heal enough to remove that all. Okay, that's good to know as well. So you don't have to be a Supernova to do that. Yeah, and then it's Rosa, and then it's kind of waiting of like, okay, do we get the right hits in from the combination of Rosa? If Rosa doesn't team up, it's going to be a lot less damage. But once again, Victor's just doing so much work, and this boss is being annihilated. And that's just kind of cool to see. Like, it's pretty much the satisfying teams where everything dies. And that's also the cool team about this one. Let's see where we have the faster team. Yeah, this is one of those fast teams. I'm not really sure why you're using a close. I do also think that this might be a manual play if we have you starting off with an S2. Yeah, starts off with an S2, so it is a manual play. So that's also a thing with one of those replays. Is it a manual play or is it an auto play? So over here, we do go for the armor break. I'm not really sure why you would need an armor break. Also, I don't think that the best dotters in game are this guy, this girl, and this dude. So yeah, after that, is there really something else that you could put more dots on? Not really. So lots of damage coming in, not fully killing it yet. So that's also an interesting thing. Is there's one extra daughter unit coming out to the game, this team would be a lot better because you can remove the close for that daughter and it would just simply be better. Technically, you don't need the Marvel as well if you were to just do enough damage where the boss instantly dies. So you don't really need the Marvel neither. So once again, going in for the Insane Hit. Yeah, that is where the Shadows Nia actually makes it where you can farm a lot of dungeons very good. It's really good at those dungeons where there's just one boss, need to do a lot of dots to them, and therefore you do a lot of damage. So definitely interesting teams out there right there. I think a lot of people are going to be focusing on DokiDoki. So let's check out a different DokiDoki team than the one that I just showed. Let's see if there is another fast team over here. So that's a 45-second team that we just showed. Jean B also did try a 1-minute team. I think that's a little bit more of a feasible team. No, actually, in the end, it's kind of a similar style. Well, it uses less of the SR unit. So let's see how this one would work. But yeah, that's the question. If your Romocha can actually kill the whole wave, you don't need a setup with that. I think in this case, he's also using Codec of Magics all across the board. Yep, going for everything. I don't really think you need the double up on... well, yeah, it might actually be good as well. But I think you're gonna get some hits from the boss right now, don't you? Let's see about that. Oh, no, wait, you actually have your Shiaka the Echo moving right now. Do you boost everything up enough? Yeah, seems like you're boosting everything up enough, and you have the Kraken for pushback. If you miss something on the Kraken, you have the backup. Actually, this is a very sound team. You would have actually had to have a... does that actually work on Grey? No, I think Codex of Magic doesn't work on Grey, because he's gonna go for a little bit of skills back and forth. So Grey is probably not the best of options in here, and you could probably better go for something else than the Grey, because... okay, in the end, he does have a decent cleanup. This team will definitely work, but Trey is a little bit only working for the first wave, not that much working in the second wave. But then again, still an insanely strong team. So if you want to get some ideas of fast clears in Inferno, these are definitely options out there. And I would also say, like, sure, you could go for a clear in Inferno where you go something along the lines of using this team. It will definitely work on auto. It will definitely, like, you leave your phone or your PC on for a little bit, you come back, it will work. But the thing is, the longer a fight is, the more chance you have for RNG and the more chance you have to get for a random wipe. Whereas if you have a super solid team that will always perform the same way in the same rotation, and sure, you can miss a little bit of resistance here and there, but in the end, I am pretty sure, for example, that the Terrormaton team that I made, if I were to put this on auto right now, it would run near similar all the time. And that is something that you would really like to see. Sure, if you would miss the strip over here, if you're missing the strip over here, it's pretty much a done deal. Like, it's game, it's done. It ain't gonna happen. And that's also where I kind of think that in Summoners War Sky Arena, they have, for example, that your PvE runes and your PvE, or your PvP runes and PvE runes, they're not the same. So you can have like one set on one side and a different set on another side, which is really good because in this case, the Heinrich, you would definitely want to go for a super high accuracy build on the Heinrich, whereas in PvP, you probably don't want to go that much accuracy on it. So definitely one of those things. It would be really nice if there was a rune or like a gear split between, it's like, okay, on PvE, I have it geared on just super high accuracy, and on PvP, I have it geared on actually super fast, or I have it geared on being super high for damage. And that is also an important factor. You still have to put this on, otherwise we're going to be hard focusing that. And I'm not sure if you're even being able to clear that, but do you think damage is really good? But this might be a thing where things might go a little bit wrong. I don't think that they can handle a hit on themselves for like once or twice. Let's see if we can still actually clear this. Well, that's the point where I would say Freya comes in pretty good. So are you going to clear this one over here? You do clear it. You do get a second hit. That just makes Victor very angry. And I think from here we can still probably... Kind of depends how much damage Victor does right now. Does he have the skill 3? I do think he... Nope, not the skill 3 just of yet. Well, a little bit of pushbacks from the Dion, and we're still good to go. So that's also a thing you do have to keep in mind sometimes. What kind of style are you hitting this boss? Are you doing left arm first or not? And definitely this is a whole lot of a worse run than the 27-second runs or 24-second runs that we were doing with the other style. And that's just the main thing you want to be aiming for at some point. So definitely interesting to see like how far you can get there. My estimation, though, how long will it take us on release for us to get teams looking something like this? I would say probably at least 3-4 months. Like, I wouldn't expect anything sooner than that to have these kind of insane teams. But there's definitely a few other options out there where you use a Victor into a Lily, and then Lily goes for the team-ups all the time, or with the team-ups, you get like a lot of damage in there. From that side, I think that that is definitely a way where a lot of people are going to get like pretty fast teams, because that's also what I saw on the last beta. A lot of the super fast teams were based on Lily plus a Victor, and then every Lily skill 1, Victor went in for another smack round, and he just went Hulk smash on things, and that's definitely one of those ways to get pretty fast teams in, where you only need 1 damage set, because this is a little bit harder to build, because you're gonna need 2 damage sets altogether, and it's gonna take a little bit more time to get 2 damage sets, rather than 1 damage set, of course. But these things, like, they just do so much damage, it's absolutely insane. Too bad that I need a little bit of extra hit in there right there. If I had a little bit better gear, then you would have been able to make it right away, but yeah, it's still pretty fast. And once again, as I did mention, you don't need super fast teams. I think it is better to have a super solid team that doesn't fail, so you get more stability worth, rather than a team is like, okay, it runs like 20 seconds, but it fails like 50% of the time, because every fail takes you probably double the amount of time to fail, because a super fast run is just like, makes sense, it's 20 seconds. But a failed run is not really mostly calculated in your averages. And if your failed run takes a minute, you rather just do a minute run average. That always works rather than a 50-50 run. So I have to keep that in mind with the speed teams. I will definitely be doing guides for speed teams altogether, but I will be also doing guides for all of those 3 dungeons altogether in the first place. If you would like me to make another video similar on the shell drops with the fastest teams on the Infernos for the shell drops, let me know that in the comments. Well, guys, thanks a lot for watching. See you as always in the next one. And definitely do check out towards the release of the game. I'm going to be making some ultimate guides for Terrormaton, DokiDoki, and Aurora in separate videos of what team composition can you do early game, mid game, late game. What units can you focus on that would cross over from one dungeon to another, so you don't have to have like 16 different units built just to farm like 3 dungeons over here. technically 15 is the max, but you get the idea. Either out, those videos are to come. Therefore, you gotta subscribe and see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.